All right, welcome future tourism professionals. You're about to jump into one of the most exciting and dynamic industries on the planet. So let's get you started with the absolute essentials.
Okay, so let's just dive right in. When you think of tourism, maybe one single landmark comes to mind, like the Great Wall of China. But the reality? It's this massive, interconnected world. We're talking transport, we're talking spending, even the books you read about a place. It's a huge global network, and we're going to break down exactly how it all works.
And to kick things off, here's a number that might actually surprise you. A full 80%. 80% of all tourist trips are domestic. Yep, that's right. The biggest part of tourism by far is just people exploring their own country.
Okay, so let's zoom out for a second and really get the big picture. I want you to understand the massive scale of the world you're stepping into. This is not some small niche industry. We're talking about a true global powerhouse. And here's why that's so important for you. You aren't just getting into a big industry. You're getting into one that is constantly growing. And what does that mean? It means opportunity. It means innovation. And it means there's a huge demand for sharp, skilled professionals, just like you're training to be.
All right, so every industry has its own lingo, right? Its own jargon, and tourism is no different. Getting this core vocabulary down is really your first step to sounding like a pro and speaking with real confidence. First up, inbound tourism. Super simple way to remember this one. Just think of international visitors coming in to your country. They're the inbound crowd. And on the flip side, you've got outbound tourism. This is the exact opposite. It's when people from your country are going out to visit other places. They're the outbound travelers. Easy, right?
And then, as we saw with that huge number at the start, we have the biggest slice of the pie, domestic tourism. This is exactly what it sounds like. People exploring their own backyard, traveling right inside their own country's borders.
So knowing why people travel, that's absolutely crucial. I mean, what's their goal? Is it for a holiday, a business trip, or is it what we in the industry call VFR, visiting friends and relatives? Figuring out their motivation is always the first step to crafting that perfect trip.
Okay, so we've got the why down. Now let's dig into the who and the where. Who are the real key players on this global stage? Who's spending the big bucks, and what exactly are they looking for when they travel? When you look at who's spending the most money abroad, 3 countries really stand out: Germany, the USA, and China. These guys lead the pack, and that makes them incredibly important markets for pretty much any destination on Earth. Seriously, if you can figure out what a traveler from one of these places wants, you are tapping into a massive stream of revenue.
And this is a perfect example of how different markets have totally different styles. On one side, you see that international tourists in the US have shopping way up high on their list. But then you look at Chinese travelers, and you see a focus on luxury goods and traveling in groups. It just goes to show you, you have got to know your audience.
And this chart really drives that point home, at least for travelers to the US. Look at that. Over half of them list shopping as their #1 thing to do. After that, you've got parks, and that includes both natural parks and theme parks. And then, rounding out the top 3 are cultural spots like museums and zoos.
Okay, so think of these 7 sectors as the fundamental building blocks of the whole industry. You've got accommodation, transport, attractions, everything. From where people sleep, to how they get around, to what they do for fun, it is all connected. And for you, the best part is that every single one of these is a potential career path. The options are huge.
All right, so we've looked at this giant industry and all its moving parts. But at the end of the day, you know what it all boils down to? Just one thing: creating the absolute perfect trip for one single customer.
And this is where you, as a professional, really get to shine. It's almost like being an artist. You take all those different pieces, the hotel, the flight, the tours, and you weave them together into one seamless, unforgettable experience for somebody. It's all about putting that puzzle together perfectly.
But with so many moving parts, so many details from all those different sectors, what's the single most important skill you have to master to make sure it all goes off without a hitch?
It's this simple phrase right here. It all comes down to the simple but incredibly powerful act of checking and confirming. That skill, that attention to detail, is what separates a good trip from a perfect, totally stress-free one for your client.
This 4-step process, this is really the heart of your job. First, you understand the customer. Then you choose the right package. Then you check and double-check every single detail. And finally, you confirm everything. That right there is the key to getting happy clients who come back again and again.
Okay, so for our last section, let's zoom back out one more time. Let's see how that one perfect booking you just put together fits into the massive global picture of tourism.
And really, this is what it all comes down to. That one perfect trip you created. Your attention to detail, your professionalism, those aren't small things. They are literally the individual bricks that build this entire multi-billion-dollar global industry, one positive experience at a time. So the world of tourism is yours to shape. What kind of experience are you going to create? Every single booking you confirm, every detail you check, every traveler you help, that's your chance to define what the future of this industry looks like. You're not just getting a job, you're becoming an architect of travel itself.